Hello and welcome back. Today we are taking a look at the brand new Transformers Age of the Primes Sky-byte. This is Sky-byte as he appeared in Robots in Disguise. He's a Voyager class figure. He comes in the new standard Age of the Primes Transformers packaging with artwork of his alt mode and robot mode on the right hand side. Summary of his steps from robot to shark in 28 steps. Sky-byte Decepticon. On the side we get that cross cell we're starting to see. This is the second part of the cross cell with a number of different primes here. I think that might be Quintessa, I'm not too sure. That one looks quite interesting. Voyager class till all are one. On the back we get a cross cell of the character in his robot and alt modes. Summary of his accessories. Legal. Authentic, more than meets the eye product. Hasbro. More legal on barcode. Top is the name, and on the right, on the final side, is that artwork of him in robot mode. Sky-byte is probably my favourite character from the Robots in Disguise series, and I am so glad that we finally have a figure for him. I've been waiting for this for ages. I think I had pre-ordered this back at the beginning of the year and it came in today, so I can't be more excited to open this up and take a look at him. There's our instructions, there's our legal. He comes in that standard cardboard packaging as we've seen with all the other Transformers, that blue and sort of star filled. He's stuck down with all of these cable ties, which if you've seen any other video I've done, you'll know I hate with a fiery passion. Interestingly, it appears that some of his accessories are on a sprue. I don't think I've seen that with a Transformer figure before. In fact, I'm not even sure if I've seen that with a Hasbro figure. Have I? I don't think I have, actually. I don't know if that's just because of the... See, it's weird. I would have normally expected packaging like accessories like that to just be wrapped in the tissue paper and stuck inside, so I don't know if that's now a new thing Hasbro are going to start doing with their figures. Let's get this out of the way. So, those out of the way. I'm going to need my clippers. Bring those in. I'm curious if the instructions tell us to clip anything off. Adults should carefully remove all pieces from the runner frame, then discard the frame. So yes, there is instructions or a brief summary to be mindful of trimming these from the sprues. So before we do anything else, let's get this snipped off. Knife like this would be sufficient, but I do have proper nippers for modelling, so I will use those here. Children, please ask an adult to assist you. 1, you don't want to damage the product, and 2, you certainly don't want to hurt yourselves. There we go. Just gonna tidy those up a bit. Well, it's certainly a new way to pack things. That's that done. That can go away. So I've also got Alchemist Prime. I'm going to be interested to see if he has any of his accessories on sprues or not. And here we have Sky-byte. There will be some minor assembly in a minute, which we'll look at. And we have our accessories. Straight out of the box, his feet are snapped together. Presumably this is how they assemble in robot mode, alt mode even. Let's take a quick look at the figure and then we will look at assembly. So we get some really nice paint apps on this. There's some really nice gold paint apps. The gold plastic's a little more of a cheesy colour compared to the paint, but that seems to be a standard part of the course with Transformer figures. I seem to have some, I can't work out if they're scratches or scuff marks on the leg of mine. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not. It almost looks like some dry brushing, but I can't quite tell. It's weird. It's only on one. There's a lid on the other side, but yeah, it's weird. It doesn't detract from the figure or anything, so I'm not overly worried. I just don't know if that's part of the course or if that's just mine or what. But anyway, back to the figure. This is his head sculpt, which is really nice. That angry looking little head sculpt. I love the purple that's used on this. I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but it is definitely more of a metallic-y purple. There's some silver paint apps over the horns. The white's more of a pearlescent white, or there's certainly more of an off-white if nothing else. There's some nice moulded scratches and dents to make him look, I don't know if that's intended as battle damage or, you know, the way you might see a shark have a few little scratches and nicks. The chest has some really nice detailing, and throughout one side of the abs are plain while the other has a cross hatch on it. Same with the eyes, so there's some really nice detailing going on here throughout. What I presume will end up being the teeth of the shark are a nice silver. He has a visible backpack, but it's not overly bulky. There's a nice fade here between the purple and the darker silver. So there's some really nice paint apps done throughout. I think I don't know if these are supposed to sort of come up and lodge in the back there. I'm not quite sure how those are going to sit. We'll have a look in the instructions in a moment and get his proper assembly. You can see some more silver and battle damage throughout. We'll take a proper look at the shark's head once he's transformed, but you can see here there's some really nice detailing throughout on the figure. Let's get him properly assembled and then we will look at articulation. One arm seems to be out of place. So I think that's supposed to be in. That's supposed to clip in there. Yep, there we go. That's a little better. Moving back, let's take a quick look at the assembly of this figure. So there's some instructions for assembly on the bottom half here. The plate to the body. Again, some really nice detailing, some mixtures of dark and silvers here, with some really lovely molded detail throughout this. And on the underside as well, we get some robotic molded detail. Same on this one. Okay, so I believe there we go. think they are supposed to go on like, oh, here we go, that's a better picture. So they go on that way, so this is furthest from the shoulders and pointing out towards us. And they just slide onto these pegs on the top of the torso, or on the shoulders rather. There is a bit of a gap between them and the end, so just be mindful that it won't go all the way in. And then the fins can plug in either side here. So they're supposed to go up like so. And then he has his blaster, which can be held in his hand. So actual accessory is this blaster, which is just done in a gold plastic. There's some molded detail underneath, which is a nice touch. And that just pegs into his hand like so. Articulation wise, he has head on a ball joint and gets a nice full range of movement there, up and down. The shoulder pads are on hinges, so they hinge up and down, and because they're on a peg they swivel as well, so if you want to move them around, have them pegged slightly differently, you can. Arms are on a socket hinge, and we come up that far and get a full rotation. It is possible to unhinge the arms. I don't think they're supposed to though, but it does seem that there is a possibility that they can unhinge without issue. There we go, and just push and plug back in. There is a rotation at the elbow, nothing at the bicep, but a rotation at the elbow. The arm, there is a bend at the elbow which will go either way. Rotation at the wrist, and the white claw will move, actually all the claws, these two move up and down, and those can fold in and out. Same on this side, bar the wrist, which folds in, but there is still a rotation there as well if you want it. Waist, full rotation. Leg will go out that far, forward that far, back that far. No bend. Oh, there is a rotation at the calf as well. Knee will bend that far back. Foot will move down. Ankle tiltage. And you can disconnect the leg at this point here if you needed that for any reason. So we get plenty of articulation for the figure. For a Voyager class, he's a decent size. He is coming in at just shy of 8 inches. So he is a very tall figure, which is nice. There we go. So we can get some nice posability out of him. So far I really like him. He looks fantastic and is everything I was hoping for. The real test here is going to be his transformation. So without further ado, let's bring the camera around to one side. Let's get these instructions opened up and take a look at Sky-byte. Okay, so we can take off the weapon and it will store It will store with these two clips into the hinges here with supposedly sort of pegs on like that. It's not that great of a as you can, there you go. It takes a bit of finagling to get it there. And also the fins do unpeg, and you can actually hold them in this hand here as a double-sided weapon if you so desired. Otherwise they just plug into the back here like so. So for transformation, we lift up the two gold fins and then lift up the shoulder pads and rotate those inwards. The back lifts up and so there are pegs here and here which normally plug in, presumably. They sort of plug in. They don't sort of. They unplug and then okay, they unplug and then the head pulls back so that this arm will move up. Does that happen on both? Part of this arm is okay, so part of my hinge here is actually snapped by the looks of things. It is still clipping in, but I don't think it's necessarily as tight as it's supposed to be. I don't think it's necessarily causing a problem or anything, but yeah, definitely be mindful of that. Okay, so this arm lifts up like so, and this should then slide back on this pin here. Tail will then rotate so the gap is facing towards us. His other arm will unhinge. Like so. And this will rotate down so the fins are facing downwards. And this comes up here and well rest like so. Fist will rotate or drop and rotate around and then plugs into the hole. which is quite an interesting piece of transformation. That's not something I've really seen before. I quite like that. And oh no, right, okay, sorry, my mistake. So the arm should be like that, so the peg also plugs in like so. Then our shoulder pads rotate around, and turning him around, the shark head should drop down completely, and then then these fins should come up okay, so this needs to drop down far enough supposedly that these fins will, or the sides of the shoulder pads will then plug into these clips here. So even with that broken one, that is clipping in, and it is still a tight fit, so that's good. And then the other side should be like the first. There is a peg which connects those two pieces as well, so it's just about lining them all up, and that is a really nice tight solid fit. Coming down to the feet will drop and the knees will bend up like so until okay, so there's this clip here which is going to clip underneath and into it. Like so. Then the jaw, or what was the feet, will snap together with a nice solid click. The body okay, so there are some hinges on the back here which then plug into the legs. There we go, that's some really nice solid clicks there. The head will drop down, supposedly. I missed a stage for the feet. So this, the neck of the shark is on a hinge here, so you need to make sure that fully drops, not that far, but it drops, and so that the base I have this now. So the best way to do, I've found, is drop it like so, then push on that and that at the same time, and that then seems to clip him into place. The sides of the shark should extend out. They do slightly. They rotate around, extend out, and rotate around, and push those two into position. Why won't this one go in? So one side slotted in fine, the other one doesn't want to. So there is a peg here, or a clip for a peg, and then there's the peg here. And they just line up on either side and clip in together. I just can't seem to get this side to line up quite. There we go. There we go. That's clipped in. Then finally all we need to do is rotate our fin around, rotate our other fins, and there we have Sky-byte in his shark mode, and he looks fantastic. He really does. You can see some of his body under here, and it would have maybe been nice if we could have had some sort of wrap around to hide that into place, but it's not the end of the world. I mean, he's essentially a flying shark, and he looks like that. You could argue that to a certain extent he's a bit like one of the Seekers or flying jets, and typically all you see underneath is the robot mode. But this tugs away really nicely, bar that chest piece. The knees and the legs here don't really look like knees and legs, they do actually look like forming of part of the body. You can get a really good look now at all of that detailing throughout on Sky-byte, from the moulded details up here to the silver and gunmetal paint apps, the purple, which really does fade. There's a really, really gorgeous fade between here and here, and and it goes right in. That is wonderful. It's not something that I was expecting or even would have thought Hasbro would have done. I would have expected these to have just been two solid grey pieces of plastic, but they've actually done a really gorgeous paint app across here. The head tucks away really nicely into the fin of the shark. The tail looks like a tail without looking like a fist. The hand tucks away nicely. So it's a really, really nice transformation for him. The fins can rotate as you need. Same here, we get rotation either side. The jaw opens and closes, and you can see the gun is tucked away underneath. Now you can take this out, he says, and it will fit onto these two pegs here. So let's see if we can get this out. There we go. So that will come out, and then in theory these two pegs should just lock it into place, and there we go. So he's got his missiles in his mouth if you want. Otherwise the mouth closes up, and this is something I really, really love. The head is on a swivel joint, so you can actually get that head moving up and down, and you can get that various expressions that Sky-byte had in Robots in Disguise. He looks wonderful. It's a fantastic job they have done here, and they've done so much more than I would have ever thought possible for the price points you're getting. There is a level of articulation here, paint apps and detailing I really was not expecting. I can't stop playing with that. I think that's such a great little feature. And depending how you move the bottom jaw as well, you can get them looking quite goofy. So we can get him moving in various poses and abilities. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Hasbro have done an amazing job with this figure. Transforming him back is a case of unplugging these sides and rotating them. This bit's always a little awkward. They don't come out quite as far as maybe they should. Rotate back like so. The head comes up, the feet come out, and clip. The shoulder pads unclip and drop down. The arms unclip and slide on that metal connector to slide back into position. There we go. Then the head comes away from the joints of the leg, lifts up to connect at the head and drops the body back down. And then this head can come up and descend like so. So it's a little further up. That falls back into place like that. Then we can have the shoulder pads come up and around, and one final clip, and we are done. So it's simple transformation either way, smooth. Once you know what you're doing, there's no issues. Everything clips together really well. The only issues I have are these shoulder joints here. They just don't plug in as well as I want, and this one seems to have had a slight snappage to it, but it's not causing any problems with the transformation. Nothing's loose because of it, so it all works as it should. Overall, I really could not be happier with this figure. Hasbro have done an absolutely amazing job all around on this, to a level that I really did not expect, and this may now be one of my new favorite Transformers for this year. But there we have them. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I am certainly enjoying this new figure, and so happy to finally have a Sky-byte in the collection. And not only that, but a Sky-byte which is just a truly astounding figure regardless. So there we have. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Until next time, stay safe, be kind to each other, and remember, freedom is the right of all sentient beings.